I sustained the damage to my left ear by going to the range with my father. We did not wear hearing protection.
I've been recently diagnosed with tinnitus, and it's a constant ringing in my ears.
I have hearing loss in my left ear, cholesteatoma, which is a buildup of scar tissue in the eardrum. It was misdiagnosed for many, many years as just chronic ear infections.
The explosion from the IED perforated or completely just blew out both my eardrums.
The person that brought it up was my wife. We've been together 58 years. My problem was I was asking her to repeat, and I didn't realize it.
I wanted to feel the music one night. And I felt it beating through my chest. And when I left, I had ringing in my ears that still has not stopped. People don't realize how important hearing and hearing protection is until their hearing is actually gone. Once they lose that, communication is then affected. They can no longer hear the person that they love talk to them. They can no longer enjoy the music that they listened to before.
Well, when I went in the Marine Corps, it was 1952. As an infantry officer, you're around weapons a lot, and I've run rifle ranges and pistol ranges, and you had all those noises. And then, of course, I also had a unit that had 106 recoilless rifles, and I was around artillery.
No, that range was not controlled at all. There was nobody telling us what we needed to do. It was just an open, it was set up as a range, but there was no control. And the way we stood with a weapon, the impact was directly to the left ear. I first noticed it when I enlisted, and I could not pass the audiogram portion of the physical exam, and I required a waiver to be able to continue with my enlistment.
When it was finally diagnosed, I had surgery to remove the eardrum and replace it, and replace the ear bones, the incus bone in particular, to restore hearing. When the sidebar conversations happen to my, my left, and I can't hear them and I have to turn, it's somewhat awkward, or I might miss important information.
I have subtle hearing loss that I will confuse certain words, like if I'm hearing the word guide, I might hear the word guy instead. And so that's something subtle that I've noticed in the last couple of years. But I also have tinnitus, and that was just recently diagnosed. I've been troubled with that ringing in the ears that I thought would just go away, and it just never does.
My hearing loss probably began in Afghanistan. Myself and two other engineers that belong to me, we moved forward to set a breach. I was on my knee pulling security for the soldiers. Everyone had passed through that lane, that area that I thought was clear. When it was all said and done, I stood up to pace backwards, and I stepped on this booby trap. Since my hearing damage, I have just a lot of pressure in my ears that I've never had a problem with before. So, and just, it gets a little embarrassing at times when I'm talking to people if I'm not facing them. I'm constantly asking them, what did you say?
You don't have to put your ear protection in yet. You guys can.
The most common complaint or feedback that I get is, I can't wear hearing protection in my job because I will miss vital information. I will miss the enemy coming up. I will miss coordinates. The fact is, you will not miss that. What you will miss is when you lose your hearing, you will at that point be no good. And at that point, you will not be able to hear the information that you're sitting here telling me that I need to hear.
I'm never gonna get my hearing back. It's not something that we can fix. Go on deployments, not wearing proper hearing protection. I could lose my hearing permanently, and that will affect me personal, work-wise.
I'm an engineer. If you're on a construction site or you're in an engine room, and if you can't hear on one side or it's less, you might miss some vital information, especially when it's an operational environment.
As a service member, I would tell you, if you're in theater, wear your hearing protection, whether or not it be the Mickey Mouse or the hand-formed protection on the flight lines. Double up, make sure that you're using that to protect yourself. If you are listening to music, turn down your iPod. You don't need to have to feel it in your bones to understand that it's good music. If you are out and you're at a NASCAR race, put in your ear protection. They give it to you at those events so you can protect yourself to be able to continue enjoying your quality of life.
You don't jeopardize the lives of your fellow airmen or yourself.
If it seems loud, then it's probably too loud, and you're only hurting yourself in the long run. That temporary ringing that you might hear now, just imagine that going on in your head 24 hours a day.
You are going to age, and things you have relied on as a young person and thought it never happened to you, unfortunately, might. So take good care of what you got. If you have to wear hearing aids, like I do now, I don't consider it a vanity thing. I need them and I wear them, and so forget about the vanity issue.
Wearing hearing protection, especially in our line of work, would be equivalent to wearing a seatbelt when you're driving a car. Are you gonna wait till you get into a car accident to put the seatbelt on? Just be safe from the beginning. Be proactive instead of reactive.